The sun was out and the day was cool. It was qualifying day at the first meet of the year, and even on this day, safety was a top priority. The entry stairs had a problem, and guess what? They were being fixed right there on the spot. The immediate past president of the JRDC was on spot to tell us some of what was going on with the club.
I think every year we're doing better and better. So there's no doubt that 2012 is going to be that better than 2011.
And I see that the place has been fenced.
Yes. We fenced the place, we put up, see what the GORE has there now, Petcom. We're really improving the place, even though we don't own it, right?
Yeah.
But we have to, we cannot just sit back and not do that.
Yeah.
Because the crowd is getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Now
and we're getting more competitors and so on. So the racing is by far more exciting as well.
Okay. One thing we know about Dover is that food or fruits, anything you want to eat or drink, you can buy right here on the ground. We had a chat with a fruit vendor who is no stranger to Dover.
What's your name?
Robert.
Robert. How long have you been coming here?
Well, I've been coming to Dover from the years I was here.
Okay, you have to tell me in a year, is it?
Alright, I'm coming up a year approximately about 20 years now.
20 years? You don't even look like you're 30 or 40.
No, I'm 38. 39.
And you're coming here for 20 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so what inspired you to start already? What inspired you to start your fruit business?
Everybody's now is kind of health conscious now, and you know at Dover is a sport event, and everybody kind of like they mostly go for the water, fruit to keep them cool and take care of their health. So that's what inspired me. And over the years I've been here, I noticed water and fruits is one of the most demand thing. So I really stick to it and call it juicy fruit.
Meanwhile, on the track, the different classes were qualifying. We spoke with Matthew Gore, who was back after a long break from racing.
So far the car is running really well. I haven't maxed out the power just because I want a reliable race meet. We're happy with how it is, and I just have to get used to it. It's my first time driving this particular car, the 10. So I recently acquired it from Doug, and we've done a lot of stuff to get it here, this meet. And so far everything is just perfect. And waiting on my tires to arrive. The machine broke down here, so I sent them to Brownstown to mount. We're going out at about 11:30 to run some laps and get ready for qualifying.
At the end of the qualifying day, everyone left with a good feeling about race day. But the weather took a turn for the worse. There were dark clouds hanging low, affecting even the visibility on the track. It started to rain, leading to a soaked track. But the day must continue, and at least one man was visibly happy. The drivers went to their mandatory drivers' meeting for a safety talk with the officials.
The object is to race with fun, with serious competition, but with regard for each other.
And an introduction to the newly painted starting grid. Racing time was now close, and the racers got ready for the track. Heath Coswell was noticeably absent from the grid. He had to start from the pit lane after missing the gridding. On the green flag, Anderson went full force ahead with a fast Bailey in chase. First corner of the day, leader Andre Anderson spins out on the wet track, but was able to rejoin almost immediately as George Bailey took the lead.
He slides off the track, but he has corrected that one with one simple maneuver, and he's back in the
On the second lap, Total SUMMERBELL racing member Anderson reached second place and went for race leader when he once again spun, this time in the tire warehouse corner.
Heading down now to the tire warehouse corner. George Bailey is still ahead by about 2 car lengths, but Anderson is right on. Oh my goodness, no! Anderson, he has spun out again.
He was followed by this Nissan Pulsar in corner 5. Further back in the B32, Dean Carotas, who started in position number 4, moved up and was leading in his class. George Bailey and Gary Williams enjoyed positions 1 and 2 for a while, and the race seemed to have settled until
1, 2, 3, 4, and someone else is out. Someone else is out. We'll tell you who.
Yep, that's Andre's brother Martin Anderson spinning out of corner 2. And that was the end of his race. As the race continued, Andre and Coswell entered into their own battle in between the B32 cars. In corner 5, Anderson got past Coswell and Carrodas, heading towards corner 6 when once again, believe it or not, Anderson spins, this time suffering minor damage from the Maxis Honda Civic driven by Carrodas. Bailey, Williams and Jagan made the top 3 in the race for a while, but Jagan nearly lost it, as we see here in corner 4. He managed to hold it together and continued racing. You would have thought that 3 spinouts were enough, but no, here he goes again. That's the 4th spin for Anderson, this time in corner 3.
I think this will be it for him.
Despite the commentator's thought, Anderson continued racing, and as luck would have it, spinout number 5 came in that same corner.
How bold he is. And this time he doesn't.
B27 was won by George Bailey and B32, Sebastian Ray. Ian Wright also fell victim to the wet conditions in that race. The second race of the day, the B45T, B45N, took place on even a wetter track. And from the fall of the green flag, it was Barnett in his Toyota Starlet in front of Booth in his Evolution. We didn't have to wait too long to see the effects of the track on the cars as Barnett started to slide. Even with the slide, Barnett was able to put distance between himself and Booth. Mechanical problems midway the race took this red Honda Integra out of the race. Barnett wasn't allowed to get comfortable as Booth was not taking any chances. He got to pass and took the lead, but Barnett had none of it. Barnett went on to win race 1 of the B45T, followed closely by Dwayne Booth and Dwight Spence in the natural class. It was raining heavily, and this also caused the organizers to suspend motorcycle racing until the track dried up a bit. Drivers in the modified production 1 and 2, even on the wet track, got the crowd excited, especially Alan Chen in his Honda-powered Starlet. Sliding sideways through corner 5 and corner 6 on the face lap.
The surface here on this wet day.
But this race registered the first false start of the day when Kyle went on the gas before time. The Audi pace car came around and readied the field for another go at the green flag. And this time they got the green flag. Kyle, Alan, Sebastian and Dean Carrodas full frightening speed ahead into the total corner. Again, the wet surface pulled all the skills out of Alan as he battled the rear-wheel drive car through corner 1, corner 2 and 3. And he did all this while managing to keep a fast total Kyle behind him.
Greg goes wide as he comes down into the tire warehouse corner. Cuts it close. Chen is sliding, but he's holding it steady.
With the aid of Chen sliding, Kyle was able to pass the number 48 Starlet in corner 5 with relative ease. In the next corner, once again because of sliding, Sebastian Ray was also able to pass Chen and gained the second place spot by the Jamaica Automobile Association corner in only the first lap as the field got spaced out.
Third position, he goes for Alan Chen, takes him down, moves into second. Exciting movements, and it is amazing.
Carrodas was brought under pressure by Gary Barrett. Other racers, though, seemed to enjoy racing, or should I say, sliding on the wet track.
But
Carrick Minot was not spared and spun out in the Carburst corner. Patrick Gore and Jocelyn Crawford had a field day battling each other and sliding through the corners.
Whoa! Jocelyn Crawford.
Kyle went on to win convincingly, followed by a distant Ray. Although finishing third and being a true showman, Chen went sideways for the crowd through corners 3, 5, and 6.
Yes. Yes, Lansford.
As we hear from Jocelyn Crawford, he had a satisfactory race.
First and foremost, let me thank God thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian. I'm also a family man. I'm a father of a 3-year-old and my wife Deidre sitting over there in the pits. First, let me give thanks to them for the support, for putting up with me for all the nights with the cars and all stuff like that. I have to thank my crew, headed by Mr. Glenrick Beckford, foreman, and the other guys, his son and Colin and his son. These cars work at my house, at the back of my house in a small garage like this. We have spent a lot of hours preparing the car, so right now I'm feeling very, very good. In some ways I'm a bit disappointed because I know I could have been a better finish a while ago. We have a little issue with the car I need to sort out, but we'll get it sorted out for the next race coming up.
Modified Production 4 and 3 had everyone in the crowd on their feet even before the pace lap began. David Summmerbell, who got pole, Doug Gore, Chris Campbell, Matthew Gore all got ready for the race. This shot clearly shows that it was definitely the second false start of the day. The pace car met up back with the pack, and we had another go at the green flag. Once again, a misplaced Audi called for another false start. The pace car Audi Sport was once again summoned to reorder the field and have a third go at the green flag. Once again, we're lined up and waiting to see if the third time is the charm. Yes, green flag, and a lightning quick David was up and away, but as quickly as he got away, he was roped in just as quickly by a determined, well-prepared ATL-paced Gore. By corner 2, a sliding Summmerbell was side by side with Doug Hollywood Gore. Let's see what happened.
Pushes ahead, but no, Summmerbell regains his position. Wow, very close, very close. Whoa, this is amazing. Gore, wonderful.
No, we can't watch that just once. Let's look at that again.
Right behind him, almost side by side, coming around into corner 2. Gore pushes ahead, but no, Summmerbell regains his position. Wow, very close, very close. Whoa.
What a pass. Almost a repeat of the same move that put both drivers in the wall in 2009. Remember this?
David King Summmerbell Jr. He's being challenged by Douglas Hollywood Gore as they go through the Kuma tire corner.
The crowd was shocked by lap 2 as Douglas Hollywood Gore was totally distant from Summmerbell. Further back, Peter Bull Thompson took on Tony's Toys, Charles Maxwell in corner 3 and successfully got passed by corner 4. Bull went on to challenge Matthew Gore and almost succeeded in the total corner, but the power of the Evo kept the Mapen Ice Mazda at bay. Missed by the cameras in the meantime, Peter Ray handed a magnificent outside pass to Charles Maxwell in corner 1. Further in front again, a sliding Matthew Gore was under attack by the Mapen Ice RX-7. In the AC Delco corner, the RX-7 passed young Gore to take up position number 4 in the class.
Yes, and Matthew Gore, he takes him. Wow, it's the final lap, and we know Peter Ray.
A lap later, the final lap, young Gore again came under fire from dark zoom on slicks. Corner 6 was where Ray took Matthew out of the top 5 as a happy Doug Gore crossed the finish line well in front of second-placed Summmerbell. Summmerbell tells us about that race.
That was definitely a tough race. We had a perfect start, got in front of Doug. Did everything we were supposed to do, but we just did not have the traction that he has under these conditions. We would love to see it dry out a bit. Unfortunately, it's really overcast and not looking that way, but you never know with Dover, it can swap in a second, so prayers are there. If not, we just have to settle for second. We have to make sure we keep the points because we're going to win the championship this year. Doug is not taking it home this year, so we're going to stay on the track, stay in the second, and when our time is right, we'll get there.
There was much buzz on the street about the BMW piloted by Chris Campbell. Well, he cleared the air for us.
I do not have a Judd V8. I have a BMW S65, which is the current M3 engine now out by BMW. It is basically a stock engine. We just did some small tuning on it and we're going with it. So we're yet to get more power from it, which I'll do at a later date.
Veteran Peter Ray ran an exceptional race from the back of the pack on the smooth tires known to the sport as slicks. He reveals how he did it.
I can't tell you all the details because my competitors might be watching and I don't want them to know. But basically there's a different line to the dry line, and the whole idea is you shift your gear earlier before you get into the full torque of the engine, so you get momentum. Once you get momentum, then you can nail it. So that was the technique, and it really was quite impressive. I was pleased with my driving. I thought passing an evolution on the outside of, I think it was Matthew Gore in the hairpin, it sort of motivated me to keep going, and I think I caught another four-wheel drive. I don't know, four-wheel drives should have it down pat here, but I'm on two-wheel drive, rear wheel slicks, and he's four-wheel, and it's, you know, it was fun. I really appreciate it, and I think the crowd and my Zoom fans out there, you know, appreciate the support, and I gave them a good entertaining run. I'm hoping now we have a slightly drier track, which will be more into my liking, because then I think most of us will come out on slicks and not the wets.
He also raved about his nephew's driving and the plan to someday form a racing team.
Well, Sebastian, I guess he has some of the genes from, you know, my father, passed on through my brother, who's his dad, and yeah, he has the technique. I you know, initially tell him the racing line, and he executed it real well. I mean, he came, I think, third overall, pulling on some evolutions in four-wheel drive. I mean, his car is a little underpowered, my Veg, but he drives it really well. I just would like to see him upgrade now to my old Mazda, which is what we would love if we could get a sponsor. So the two of us, Ray and nephew. Is that a hint?
Another class with close racing, the bracket 38 was now on track with at least 10 competitors, including newcomer to the class, Lincoln Small. He started at the back of the grid in 10th position due to missing qualifying the previous day. Green flag and Everett Brady was on his way, but it was Lincoln Small who made up 6 places to exit corner 1 in 4th position behind Sheldon Morgan. By the Carryburst corner, Small was in 2nd place, challenging for the top position. By the JAA corner, Small was in front and pulling away, and Morgan was in 2nd position. A fast Spencer Whittingham, who started from the pit lane, entered the top 3 in the 2nd lap. Wet road sent Small wide of corner 6, followed by a wild sliding Whittingham.
5th position.
By the start of lap 3, Whittingham was in 2nd place and heading for Small. Morgan was not about to give up and went into corner 1 right beside Whittingham. This was about to turn into a nice 3-way battle when Small lost control of his car and spun. If that wasn't enough, his day was definitely ended when he collided with Spencer. Small was obviously upset. This was not how his day at Dover was planned. Sliding was the order of the day for Whittingham, and he lost it in corner 7, handing the lead to Sheldon Morgan. On the start of the last lap, though, Whittingham took back the lead. Further back, Kurt Diaz took a spin while being challenged by the VW Golf. Whittingham went on to win the race, followed by Sheldon Morgan. Missing from the race was the 16-year-old princess Samantha Summerbell. You wonder why?
Because of the rain. She doesn't have the experience, so rather it's not fair to her, the other drivers, to start her off in a rain race when she has no experience in it. But hopefully it'll dry out and she'll get her feet wet later.
B27, B32. Martin Anderson was back after his incident in race 1. The race started with another false start with George Bailey jumping the start.
Yellow flag.
Another go at the start, and yes, green flag. Go, go, go. It's George Bailey who quickly extended his lead, but Gary Williams and Peter Jagan were not about to make it easy. Williams took the lead in corner 3 as Dean and Sebastian battled for the lead in B32. As Gary stretched the lead, it was Sebastian who emerged from corner 7, leading B32. Further up front, though, the race was getting really interesting. Tony's Toys Evo, along with Martin Anderson, passed Jagan and set their dreams on race 1 winner Bailey. Anderson fell back when he spun in the AC Delco corner. However, Maxwell ended Bailey's 2nd place run in the Mobile 1 backstretch.
Up front, Gary Williams.
Williams' lead came under threat as Maxwell quickly closed the gap to challenge for the lead. His lead ended when Charles Maxwell did this. Yes, Charles Maxwell passed him heading up to the hairpin. Most impressive was Sebastian Ray, who ran intertwined 4th overall with the B27 cars. George Bailey started to lose pace, and the much slower car of Ray was able to pass easily in front of the grandstand. Ray went out and took Gary Williams. Let's watch how that battle unfolded.
Once again, it's the B22. And Sebastian Ray is now challenging Gary Williams in a serious way. Seems as if he's really after him this time. Heading down into the JAA. Not sure what happened with George Bailey, but he really lost his lead. And not just the lead, he is now 4th on the track. Remember, there are 2 classes running together. And so in a bit we'll be able to split the difference, but Gary Williams, Sebastian Ray, and whatever Ray is doing, I think he wants more than anything else right now to get around Gary Williams. And his side-by-side in the AC Delco corner. Coming up towards the Caribburst corner. He moves to the outside. Kind of something I'd expect his father to do. Coming around the Caribburst corner. He's gone with him. Ray is on the outside. Well, not 100%. Not gone with him, not finished with him yet. Gary Williams straightens up and pulls away, putting about 2 cars lengths, between himself and Sebastian Ray. Exciting tussle taking place there. Ray is beside him one more time, coming up into the S's. He's going to, yes, fall back, yes, pushing on the outside, and it looks as if he is going to do it now as they complete another lap. Gary Williams protecting his position in this race. Coming through the total corner. Going for it the way his father would. Using different lines. As I said before, the way his father would. Actually, his uncle, Sebastian. Oh my goodness. He is determined. He is determined he's going to do this. He's determined he's going to do this. Sebastian Ray on the outside, clearing the Caribburst corner, going into the JAA, and I tell you, Gary Williams has got to be working really hard, working overtime to protect his position in this race. Looks like it's going to be a little more difficult this time. He might not be able to make that pass before the end of the race. But I can tell you, he fought a valiant fight. Sebastian Ray. And I guess that's where the exciting part of the race is right now.
It ended exactly that way, with Charles Maxwell winning his class and Sebastian Ray winning his. The B45 T&N started in one go with Barrett once again taking the lead, but Smallhorn was not about to allow him to run away with it this time. On lap 2, car number 14, Ewan Ennis, ended up here in the grass, upside down. Bear in mind that the cars in the B45 are normal street cars without rolling cages, and as such, it wasn't long before the race was stopped. We spoke with him shortly after.
I was about to negotiate a corner, and the car in front of me suddenly, he braked heavily, and in order to avoid hitting him, I had to brake also. And the results of braking, the car got out of control, swerved a few times, and then hit the embankment and overturned.
How are you feeling?
Well, I'm quite shocked, really. It's the first time I've ever been into an accident like that. But, I mean, I'm also kind of like feeling good that I recovered and nothing really serious happened to me. But it's a wonderful experience. Well, not really wonderful, it's a scary, but, you know, it's been a good experience so far. And I'm quite happy that nothing serious happened to me.
In race 2 of MP1 and 2, Princess Summerbell, who did not race in race 1, joined the pack. Of course, from the back of the grid, as Alan Chen and Kyle Gregg set to face off again for the final class race of the day. Kyle already took race 1. Could he take race 2? How would Sebastian Ray place, starting from the pit lane? All those questions were just about to be answered when we registered another false start for the day. Another pace lap led to the same results, can you believe this? But this time, the green flag was given anyways, and it was Kyle who was first to the total corner, but with Chen right on his tail.
They're going around into corner 2. Alan Chen coming back around.
The semi-damp surface still allowed for sliding, as seen here from Greg.
Whoa, interesting slide.
But it was Chen who became victim as he spun completely out of the AC Delco corner.
Whoa, and Chen has spun around a full 100.
After a quick and dangerous re-entry into the race, only losing 2 positions in his class, he went on to chase for Kyle, who was far ahead by this time. Chen made up ground in no time and was challenging Carrodus by the Carib Cement corner. This is how far ahead Kyle was.
Dean Carrodus, but up ahead, the total car driven by Kyle Gregg.
Alan regained the second place and darted for Greg. Meanwhile, MP1 contender Tariq Minot hit the wall in corner 5. Ouch! While Princess Summerbell was busy correcting her spin-out incident in corner 3. That didn't trouble her much as she went on through the Carib corner on 3 wheels. Up front though, it was Alan Chen who was closing the first and second place gap quickly. The third place position was also under threat from Vivian Mitchell, and Sebastian Ray was not very far off either. As Chen got closer and closer to Greg, the battle for third place got intense.
Look at this. Carrodus.
If that wasn't intense enough, the battle for first in the MP2 class became a real threat for Kyle, as Alan Chen was now right there beside him.
Alan Chen. What a tight, oh my goodness, look at this.
Unseen by many spectators, Sebastian Ray got past Vivian Mitchell and was now challenging Dean Carrodus. 1 lap later, with the battle still raging, this time Chen was able to get past Greg on the outside of corner 1. He maintained the lead until this happened.
Takes it again, coming to the Tower House corner in the lead. Alan Chen right to the edge, right to the edge, to maintain that lead over Kyle. Oh my God, no, not the way we wanted it at all, but we've seen why it happened, and Greg looks like...
Back marker Ron Gale basically performed a pit maneuver on Greg accidentally, sending him in Chen's direction. This immediately took Chen out of the race.
No, not the way we wanted it at all, but we've seen why it happened, and Greg looks like he has the better. Yes, Greg has the advantage. And so
Greg continued, but retired a minute later. With Greg and Chen out, the race for first position shifted to Carrodus, Ray, and Vivian Mitchell. A perfect outside pass by Ray sent him into the lead. Ray, Carrodus, Mitchell. This seemed like the finishing order until Carrodus spun in the hairpin, giving Mitchell the second place. Sheldon Morgan won the MP1 category. Kyle and Alan spoke to us about the incident.
Alan has been faster than me all weekend, but basically we battled, he spun, he caught me, and unfortunately when he got in front of me at one point in the race, we caught lap traffic. Now, I don't know if any blue flags were given, but basically we have a right-hander coming up. He went to the left of the guy, I went on the inside. The guy's front wheel touched my back left wheel, flicked me up in the air, and I head straight down into Alan. it's a racing incident. I mean, it's unfortunate.
I mean, I try to look at the motorsport at a mature view, and you know, it's helping. I'm just going to take it that, you know, it's a racing mistake that he made. I mean, yes, he came into contact with another car, but in my mind, if you're in trouble, cut your speed. If he had cut his speed, I don't think he would have hit me as hard or hit me at all.
While the kids played, a war was brewing on the track. The outcome of the MP4, MP3 Race 2 was expected to either be different or much more competitive. The King and Hollywood were on track again with a much drier surface. The very fast and entertaining Peter Ray had to start from the back because he missed the gridding. Doug Gore picked the start of the race, causing another false start. It seems this wasn't communicated to the field effectively, and Charles Maxwell had to take to the grass to avoid an incident. Take two. Even though it looked like another false start on the part of another competitor, it was green flag. Into the total corner, it was Doug on the inside, SUMMERBELL on the outside. And otherwise reserved, SUMMERBELL stood his ground. They touched, and it was the Total Evo that exited corner 2 leading. Peter Ray, who started at the back of the pack, was now in 7th, challenging Bull Thompson for position. On the Mobile 1 stretch, Ray got past the Bull with ease, and by the start of lap 3, he was also in front of Maxwell. In the MP3 class, it was now Wilson and Edwards fighting hard for position.
Representing Team Brownstown.
A slowing David SUMMERBELL allowed the V8 machine of Chris Campbell to get close, but the race ended in this fashion. SUMMERBELL first, Campbell second, Matthew Gore third. One side of the coin gave a wet surface. The next produced a dry one, and it was certainly to the delight of the King. The B38 Race 2 got on its way, missing Lincoln Small, who crashed in Race 1. 4th place Diaz got the perfect start and was out leading by corner 1.
And so they're off in...
That lead was short-lived as Morgan passed him magnificently on the inside at the tire warehouse corner. It was a tug-of-war for positions 1, 2, and 3. At the back of this race was Samantha SUMMERBELL challenging Brian Shore for position. Her challenge was successful, exiting the Carryburst corner.
To make a move on Brian Shore, and yes, she gets him on the outside.
She immediately went for Everett Brady and was once again successful in the total corner. It looked like this was how the race would have finished. Diaz, Morgan, and Whittingham. But a last-minute gutsy attempt at the lead by Morgan stopped both himself and Diaz in the Caribs men corner. Diaz went on to win with Whittingham second, and Morgan had to unfortunately retire after the incident. On a much drier track, the bike racers A and B were allowed to compete. Even though it was Dennis Chinqui on pole, it was Grease Lightning that took the lead right away with Andre Norman in second. The race was uneventful as Adrian Blake won the A class and Chinqui second and Robert McDonald winning Class B. The final race of the day had the Minister of Sport without portfolio, Honorable Natalie Nita Headley, giving an honorary green flag to the field before being given a ride in the pace car. We spoke to her and she enlightened us about some of the positive possibilities that may arise for circuit racing in tourism.
I have been having discussions with the Race Drivers Association, and I think that at this point in time, outside of everything else, the prospects for our tourism product is incredible. We are on the North Coast. Dover is close to all our major hotels, and so I believe if greater promotion is done and greater invitations are done, boat racing remains one of the largest sports, spectator sports in the world. And certainly I believe Jamaica has a potential. I'm happy to see the sponsors on board, and so many of them.
Now it was on to serious business, and the final Thundersport race got the green flag. Now, why did this race start out without the King?
Unfortunately, at the end of the last race, we lost, a small hose came off, let out the water, and we ended up damaging the cylinder head gasket. So we didn't have the time to change it between the two races to get back on the tracks.
Without the King to challenge the Audi, Doug Gore moved ahead of the pack, followed by Campbell, Causwell, Ray. This race was very close as Campbell, Causwell, and Ray fought for first, or better yet, second. Exiting corner 1, for second place it was Campbell, Ray and Coswell. By corner 3, very rarely seen, Peter Ray was handed a pass by Coswell. By corner 6, it was Coswell, Campbell and Ray. Heath Coswell and Chris Campbell were fighting for second place when Campbell lost control in corner 5, causing severe damage to the car. With smoke coming from the car, the race was stopped promptly, while the crowd was shown the replay immediately. We spoke with Campbell to get a better understanding of what happened causing that incident.
I had no steering, I couldn't turn. I turned, but the car didn't turn because it broke the tie rod end where it connects to the wheel, that snapped.
After the track was cleared, the race continued, and as expected, Gore pulled away sufficiently. But it was Coswell and Peter Ray that gave the crowd excitement, battling for second place.
And what we saw that took us by surprise was how much. That's Kyle, I think, driving Samantha's car in a little in the lead. Now we see Peter Ray gaining on Heath Coswell. Anderson, and that's M. Anderson, not A. Anderson. Peter Ray still putting on the attack on Coswell. Coswell is going to be having a hard time being bothered by Peter Ray. Peter Ray going into the total corner, trying, yes! He's side by side with Coswell. Behind him again. And he's going to be pulling off one of his fancy tricks. If you know Peter Ray, you know.
Ray gave Coswell no opportunity to relax as he tailed him all the way around the track. Further back in Thundersport 1, competition was fierce between Tariq Minot and Sebastian Ray.
Sebastian Ray.
The competition between Peter Ray and Coswell ended as Ray stopped there. He rejoined.
Not sure what that is about.
He rejoined the race, but by this time he had lost some 40 seconds.
Not too far behind, there's Coswell turning on the Heath. Yes.
In Thundersport 1, Dean Shaw had to really drive to protect his position from Vivian Mitchell, Tariq Minot, and a close enough Sebastian Ray.
I mean, there's threesome. Let's see. No. Just didn't happen at all. Just making his way into Pinkett's Bluff, yeah. And so they end up in the same position they started out. Minot almost got the edge of the backstretch. Dean Shaw has widened the gap between himself and Mitchell.
As Doug Gore won the race, Peter Ray rejoined the mix. A bit too late though, as the race ended that way. Hollywood Gore told us about his day and his plans for the CMRC.
I mean, 2 wins out of 3, can't feel bad about that. It was just a proper incident we had on the second race. And it's, we can't play bumper cars out here with these expensive cars. So we're glad that my crew went and did what they needed to do to get the car out here. And I tell you, the last 3 laps, the car was vibrating violently. We had to do a lot of rigging to try and get the car back out on the last race. But boy, they did phenomenal, and hats off to them. They were the ones that were able to make me get out there and win the last race. The guys have actually told us that the way that we actually run for the MP race looks like we'll be able to run the car for that championship. So hopefully we'll be part of the Caribbean Championship and come and do a 1-2. And I'll tell you which 1-2, but Jamaica will be 1-2.
An understandably disappointed David Somerville Jr. spoke with us about the future with CMRC and beyond.
I think we're still good. This is home court for me. This is, Dover is born and grow up. So it's gonna be tough for him to beat us here, but he's earned the respect. He's very, very fast. But we're at the top of the game, and we're going to be ready for him when he comes.
It was a bitter weekend for some, sweet for others. All in all, it was an amazing wet race weekend. There were many wins and there were many spills, many green flags and many false starts. Now it's just a couple weeks before the big meet, the Seaboard Marine CMRC, May 27, same place, right here at Dover Raceway. Come and see the fastest from Barbados, Stuart Williams, Andrew King from Guyana, among others, as they fight for the Caribbean crown. You can't afford to miss this one.